Good morning, everybody. I'm a bit late, and there's two problems with being late. First of all, you're supposed to be a problem because you keep it. And second of all, I don't have as much time as I would like because I do have a Mitzvah class after this one, which sort of boxes me in. It limits how much time and leverage leeway I have. Now, my Rabbi Paltiel, we're holding kuf, right? We're holding kuf. And of course, the way this works is that we started Kufya test. Technically, we started it after Yud Shvat. Practically, we started it after the quarantine began. And we spent a lot of time learning introductory classes. And then we started learning one oif a day, one letter a day. And as you all know, I'm sure, that rules are made to be broken. So here we are breaking a rule. Rules are made to be broken. We're going to break a rule, but this time it's going to be broken in a different way than I broke it last time. Let me preface by saying that yesterday, Be'ezer Hashem Yisbarach, we did two oisias. We did Hey, Ploif, and we did Tzedek. And it was really interesting how polar these two classes turned out to be. Besides the fact that the class on Pei was literally twice the length of the class on Tzedek. Ploif was 2 hours, an hour and 54 minutes, and Tzedek was under an hour. But the spirit of the classes is Mamish B'Nakas Alakot. The class on Ploif spoke about Mitzvas Hatefilla and light and transcendence, and David HaMelech's pursuit of Ruach HaKodesh within Torah, and so on. And the second class was about tzedek, about judgment, about darkness, about tzedkos tzedek, about tzedek hadin, about challenge. And I've been asking myself, ever since I gave the second class, which was supposed to go on at 2 and went on at 4, the Maimon ended up being at 10 o'clock. There's a lot going on here, Baruch Hashem, and yesterday was the day after Yom Tov, and I was determined to make it a normal day, and it wasn't so easy to make it a normal day, so that's what ended up happening. I'm so happy I did two ACS. I feel like the more we can do, the better. But today we're not doing a whole life, we're only doing a part. Kuf. So what's going to happen is... I just want to say before I continue that I like to believe that the psukim are leading me. In other words, even though I'm interpreting the psukim, of course with the help of the Rishonim and the Chassidus, which there's not much. But I really would like to believe that David HaMelech is telling me what to think. David HaMelech, with the help of the Gedolei Rishonim, would tell me what to think. And the fact that I gave two classes in one day, and the spirit was so different, I don't know if the pshat is that I'm being led by what the Mefarshim say in the psukim, or that I was in a bad mood, but I kind of got the second half of the day, so I gave a more negative class. I would like to believe the former. But each day we do 8 psukim, do one ois. We've tried to do one ois. We had a few exceptions. And today's going to be an exception, but of a different type. And we try to find an akudat techoina point which weaves through it all, that sets the tone for the whole 8 psukim. Well, when it came to ois kuf, I couldn't do it. Couldn't find a pasuk, a word or 2 words even, that weave themselves through the 8 psukim. Because the last 2 or 3 of these 8, that means pasuk kuf nun, kuf nal, kuf nun beis, you have to say that the pasuk hayesod is the word la'olam, which means eternity. Torah is eternal. The first 5 psukim, maybe 6 psukim, because pasuk kuf nun you can read in 2 directions. The key word is the word karasi, to call, and kidamti, which means I got up early, which is part of karasi. I got up early to call. And I see them as very distinct things, and again, this is based on the Mefarshim, the Rishonim. Very distinct things that A, it's difficult to bring together, B, you don't want to bring together. because each one of them is teaching us a yesod, is teaching us something very fundamental, very, very, very important. So that's what's going to happen. Kuf is going to become two themes. From Pasuk Kuf Mem Hey until Pasuk Kuf Nun, give or take, is one theme. And then from Pasuk Kuf Nun, give or take, I'm using it twice, through Kuf Nun Beis, which is a total of 2.5 or 3 psukim, is a separate theme. And B'lineder, with Hashem's help, of course, we're going to do it tomorrow morning. What is the difference between today's theme and tomorrow's theme? The difference is today's theme is about Kriyah, calling out HaKadosh Baruch Hu, davening to the Eibishter. And of course, David HaMelech's famous getting up in the middle of the night and not letting himself sleep. It's right here. Kidmu Einai Ashmureis. Right? The Gemara brings a different pasuk, I believe. Because there's a Gemara in Berachos. If I'm not mistaken, it brings a different pasuk than this pasuk. It's rather near the beginning of the Masechta, but I don't remember that pasuk. Kumi Reini Ba'Layla L'Reish Hashmoides. I believe that's the pasuk the Gemara brings. Here the pasuk brings Kidu Eina Hashmureis Kidanti Ba'Neshem. Because I got in the middle of the night. So Kriya and Kdima, two words, but there is a theme is constant. David is reaching out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in prayer. And the second theme is La'olam, is the eternity of Torah. So we're doing them as two separate themes. So we're doing 8 psukim in 2 themes. The first 6 psukim are one theme, and the last 3 psukim, meaning the 6th pasuk we're using twice, is the opposite theme. And arguably, the way you read this 6th pasuk Kuf Nun, Korbu, Reit Faizima, Meteirosachor Achoku, we're reading it twice. We're going to read it today, and we'll read it tomorrow with Hashem's help, is opposite in a certain sense. So let's first read and translate all 8 psukim, and then the tomorrow do it again. And then we'll have our introductory shmuas, and then with the time that the Eibishter has given us, we will explore. David HaMelech says, Psalm 119, passage, Pasuk Kuf Mem 145. Karasi b'chalev, I have called with all of my heart. Moshe Yochid. Anini Adonai. Answer me, God Almighty. Chukecha tzera, I will guard your edicts, your laws, your mitzvahs, your statutes. Karasicha, I have called you, Esheni, please answer me. The Eshma Eidesach, and I will guard your witness. And the Rishonim, a lot of them, interpret these psukim in classic form as very defensive. David has tzadis, David has hardship, and he says, help me out, and if you'll help me out, I'll serve you. As many of the Rishonim say, David says, the only reason I want to live, right, you have in the next pasuk, Chayeni, pasuk Kuf Mem Tes, Chayeni, the only reason I want to live is to be able to serve you. And we're going to learn these psukim in a different way, in a little bit of a deeper way. And again, it's also found in the Chazal, in the Rishonim and the Chazal. But we're not going to read these psukim as David crying out desperately because of his tzadus and anguish as we've had in the past. We're going to explain them, if you will, in a more enlightened way. And again, we're not making it up. It's based, of course, on the Mefarshim, but we're spinning it in the way that we're choosing to explain it based on what's written in the Sfarim, the Eilit Sfarim. Kidamti Baneshev, I got up at night, before it was day, when it's dark. Everyone else is sleeping and I got up, Neshev. Ba'ashaveya, he translates Ashaveya. I cried out to you, Lidvarchi Yecholti, to your words I yearn, I wish, I hope, I anticipate. Kidmuena Ashmedes, my eyes preceded the units of night. Ashmedes means a unit of nighttime. We're going to discuss in a moment what an Ashmeda is and how many there are and the significance of it. And the Pnimius HaDavid, and David says, I got up before the Ashmedes, which is either midnight or a quarter into the night. In other words, 8 hours till night is still left. L'siyach b'mrasecha, to speak in your words of Torah and Tefillah. Koili shima, hear my voice. Kichazdecha, based on your kindness. Adeshem kimishpatecha chayeni, give me life according to your judgment of what the world is and why the world is and so on. Karvu roit faizima, my pursuers are in pursuit of zima, of sin, of wanton sin, and accordingly and correspondingly, miteras farachaka, to go further and further away from the Torah. The simple thing of these words are, like it's brought in Chassidus and Achei Tzadikim, Mufud Salvovis, fire and water cannot cohabit. Taivas and Torah cannot cohabit. As they get closer to Zima, they get further from Torah. But some of the Mepharshim have a very positive spin, because they say that even though they're going far away from the Torah, David is davening that the Eibush should be makabel the tshuva. Koravata Hashem, you are near, even to the Reitzei Zima, to anticipate anybody who wishes to enter into Mechitasei Reshus Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to receive it. It's a true means everlasting. Kedem Yadaiti Me'edisach. Before I experienced living as a Jew, I knew the credibility of Judaism. Kedem. And of course, the word kedem is consistent with kuf mem zayin kuf chas. They also start with the word kedem. Before I lived as a Jew, I knew the credibility of what Jewishness is from your Torah. Because you founded them on the principle of eternity. They're absolutely true and they're always relevant. They never expire. Like I said, kuf nun dunah and then base, we're going to do it tomorrow as a separate unit. I'm not dividing it because of time. I'm dividing it because of content. Today's class is the principle of Kriya, Karasi, and tomorrow's class is the principle of Lo'ila. Two different ideas, two very different ideas, two distinct ideas that both happen to fall in Eish Kuf. But they're talking about two different things, and like I said, I had promised myself this wouldn't happen, but I also know a Klal Godel Amru, but promise is, Ba'achlotas Tevis, especially in Dvarim Tevim, that rules are made to be broken. Let's start from the beginning. Kriya. To call HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? The pasuk says, "Mika Deshem Elokeinu." Mika, who was like the Eibush, who had this unusual relationship with the Jewish people, and B'chol Kareinu Elav. Whenever they call him, he responds. What's the lashon in pasuk in Parshas Yisrei? You know what does the Eibush say? Forgive me, I'm taking out a chumash, good old-fashioned Pentateuch. Anytime you're going to mention my name, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to bless you. Now she says, here he says, actually goes in Shem Mamfedish. And of course the idea is that a Yid is able to call the Eibush at any time in any place, and the Eibush responds. And one of the terms, which here it doesn't say the word Ki, here it says the word Zechira. But one of the ideas which is very prominent in Torah and certainly in Sifrei Musar is the idea of B'chol Kareinu Elav. That whenever a Yid calls, the Eibush responds, because there's two definitions of B'chol Kareinu Elav. The first is simple. B'chol Kareinu, anytime we call Elav, our prayer reaches him. And B'chol Kareinu Elav is Elav Aleil L'Midei. When you're calling HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're calling him and not his name. And Moshe Rabbi say, for those of you who follow us on Facebook, or on the live channel of the website, or on YouTube, you know that I give many classes a day. And the first class that I give every morning is the Yeshiva Bachrim, to my Talmidim, and Chetmimim, and we're learning Derech Mitzvas Hatefilla perek. Today we're officially starting perek test, although we didn't get very far within the perek. And of course it's about tefillah. And one of the themes which dominates that theme is the idea of B'chol Kareinu Elav, calling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that the Eibush should respond. B'chol Kareinu Elav means when we call him, he answers. B'chol Kareinu Elav, the reason we call him, he answers is because we reach him. Elav Aleil L'Midei. But of course, like the whole idea of the Chavim B'Shem we're discussing in the morning classes, I don't want to make this into a class in Derech Mitzvas Hatefilla, but it's very connected. Rabbi say, a man's college is holding Shmuel Zu, no, Shmuel Zu ain't in no. A Yid is not allowed to say, this piece of Torah I like, this piece of Torah I don't like. The Rebbe used to say, in the Maimorim even, you're not supposed to say Shmuel Zu, no, Shmuel ain't no. Oh, but those is like Yishma Kemaimet, right? They would say, I remember Maimorim. I think about the Vayishlach and Torah Eid, and also the Mishpat. I think my memory plays games with me, but I think the Rebbe commented about these two inyanim. Amongst others, that's Zera Geshmak Kedah. So you're not allowed to say it, other part, which means to say, you know, it's like the Haimer Akan Sipa, Yigir Rachamech, and then the Rambam writes in Leil Nevuchim, the reason for Akan Sipa is Rachamech Vachsod. And he writes to Fedish, I know that it says in the Mishnah, you're not supposed to say Akan Sipa, Yigir Rachamech. But I'm telling you, this is the time for this mitzvah. And he explains that you're never supposed to see the time as safe. There's no question that the Haimer Akan Sipa, Yigir Rachamech is true. The Eibush gave us this mitzvah, Shloch HaKan, to have a Kedusha through the Seir Zachmanah. But to say that that's the whole reason for the mitzvah. That's what the Mishnah is. And the same is true when the Chazal say you're not allowed to say Shmuel du no, or even the no, but to say that the geshmak of this Shmuel is the way I appreciate its no, its beauty. Or to say this is like a shmak a shtickle, with the full understanding that there's so much more to it than what I understand. Or this is a shvera shtickle, but I know that Emreikum Mikem the Chasson is the mean after the Teda Chas V'Sholem. The Rebbe held that if a person learns Teda and doesn't have a sense of geshmak, it's a chassan and avona. You don't understand it. Maybe you must understand to be Mekayim the mitzvah al. So you're not allowed to say Shmuel zu no Shmuel, but one of my favorite shtiklach Tanya is Tanya so Pedek Lamed Zayin gives me all the time. The Alter Rebbe says why is Teda Shebeksav called Mikra? Right, the three words Mikra, Mishnah, Talmud. Those are the Talmudic terms because Gemara. The Shas is called Mikra, Mishnah, Talmud. And of course the Gemara explains what Mikra means, what Mishnah means, what Talmud means. And the Rebbe Tanya asks why is Teda Shebeksav called Mikra? And he answers because the entire Tanakh, the Shmeita Shalach HaMikvah, Kol HaTeda Kula, Teda Shebeksav is the divine name. Kol HaTeda Kula, Shmeita Shalach HaMikvah is Hashem's name. And of course the Arichas in this, the elaborate version of it, is the principle. That the difference between Teda Shebeksav and Teda Shebeksav, between the written Teda and the oral Teda, is that in the oral Teda the words are not as much only the ideas. The words are simply a medium for carrying the ideas. You're not supposed to be medactic in the oisius. I've never spoken in such sheen. And you see in the tradition that even though in Teda Shebeksav, that's just medactic words, but we find daily achayim who did, and he mentions that Nechemia de Bravne. And then the Rebbe goes ahead and makes a hadron about Bavli, but the Yerushalmi edition, which is for the ages, it's printed, look at the Sichas now, but it came out in the Teres Menachem. If you look at the Sichas first, now it's in the Teres Menachem Muger, about the medactic words of Teres Balpeh. But from a halachic point of view, the difference between Teres Shebeksav and Teres Balpeh is that Teres Shebeksav, the words and the letters are very precise, and Teres Balpeh, the words and the letters are the medium to carry the ideas. Why in Teda Shebeksav are the words so precise? Because they're God's words. The words of Mikra, especially the words of Chumash. Hashem said these words, the Moshe Rabbeinu wrote. The Ramban actually writes that it's a kasha. Why doesn't the Teda begin with the words Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu write, Bereshis? Because it was a dictation. According to the Ramban for sure, Teda Shebeksav. And the Ramban doesn't see a difference between Sefer Dvorim and the first four Chumashim. Inspired the whole business of Meisha, what Lashon Meisha, Al Das Atzmei Kos, I forgot the Lashon Chazal exactly. The Ramban says Chanisha Chum Sheteda was a direct dictation of Hashem to Meisha, word for word, letter for letter. Because the Teda Shebeksav is names of God, Tzirufim and names and all kinds of secrets. Now, of course, you don't see the name of God in Achis Leighton Timna or Timna Esapilegesh or the other examples which the Rambam brings. But that's sudden in our perception. Teda Shebeksav is names of HaKadosh Baruch. That's the meaning of the word Kriya. When you're saying Teda Shebeksav, you're calling the Eibishter by his name, Korach. And or as Chassidus would say, you're calling out Meneruf Tarois. When you call the Eibishter by his name, you're calling out from Helam Alagdim. Like I learned this morning in the Derech. The idea of Shvochem. Right? That one of the mitzvahs in the Teda is to praise HaKadosh Baruch. One of the parts of Tefillah. Where there's a Deraisa or the Rabbanon, there's Shevach, and there's Bakoshes Tzrachav, and then there's Heidah. Praising Hashem, asking for your needs, and then thanking Hashem. And there's a possibility that Shevach is also a part of Tefillah. What do you have to say to the Eibishter? It's explaining in Chassidus, because when you praise Hashem, you bring forward this midas min ha'elam alagim. Like it's brought in Chassidus that they praise, they flattered Rashbi, so that Rashbi should learn Teda, should teach us about Teda, and it should pray. Because Rashbi has koiches, but the koiches could be in a state of helam, and when the Talmidim flattered him, they brought the koiches in helam alagilui, and then when he said Teda, it rained. So in Chassidus about the Eibishter is so, but even more. Because the Eibishter is so posh, Hashem is so built in Messias, that he has no midas. In other words, he has no closeness to our interest. The Eibishter gave us before the mitzvah of Tefillah, which is to ask for our needs, there's the mitzvah of Halal, Shevach, to praise him. Because when we praise him, we reveal, so to speak, from his pshitos, midas, chesed, rachmu, chochma. And then when we daven, since the midah kvayochel has been brought forth from the Madrege, the Chelis, and Helm Sheni B'Mtzias, in Atmos Hus, then Kvayachol, the Eibishter Dimshach into the Midas of Atzilus, and the Eibishter gives what we want, B'chol Keinu Elav, Eilav Aleilam Mideis. And that's the touch Kriya. Kriya means to call Hashem. But like I said, in Chassidus, you don't translate Kriya to call Hashem, means to call Hashem out. To bring forward the Pshitas of Elokus, B'nehelem Elagir, to bring the Eibishter closer to Him. Now, of course, why does Kriya work? Why does it help to call Hashem? Why does it help to praise Hashem? Only for one reason, because He gave us that truth. When the Eibishter gave us the Tanakh, gave us the Chumash, and He said, you should know this is called Mikra, He is saying to us that I am telling you that when you call me, B'chol Kareinu Elav, Chol HaMakom, I should ask you to Shmi, Avi Alecha V'Rachticha. When you call the Eibishter, again, in the Lashon HaChasidus, you call the Eibishter out. Kvayachol, you bring forward from the Pshitos, of Neder HaMetzias, of Atmos, and Moshe Sof Baruch Hu, are coming closer to us, so that He has, so to speak, a shaykhis to those things that are of interest to us, and the Eibishter should give us brachas, as the Rebbe always says in the Madrege, that are not good, but good in our eyes, and in our perception, in our understanding, in our interpretation, and also in our framework of time. Because by the Eibush it is whole different concepts of time and space and good and so on. And that's the meaning of what Kriya, to call it to call forward. David HaMelech said Karasi. Yecharuf, I'm calling to HaKadosh Baruch. Now again, in the Pashtanim you could translate Karasi, I'm calling you because of Tzaras. But in the Sibas Shainis we're not going in that direction. In Karasi, David HaMelech is calling. He's calling to the Eibush. And he's wishing and he's hoping and he's praying that the Eibishter will respond. And this is what a Yid does. A Yid calls to the Eibishter. And as we know in Chassidus, that even though in Halacha, Tefillah, prayer, is Bakoshet, to ask Hashem for our needs, and whatever these material needs, I need something, I need help, I need panos, I need safety, I need a sense of safety. Right? But the pnimius of tefillah is connection. Tefillah, from the words atayfak licheres, or the word nafta, to connect, to bind ourselves with HaKadosh Baruch. When the lashon from Chazal, aveda shebalev, the service of Hashem in the heart. So the chitzonius of tefillah is asking Hashem for our needs. The pnimius of tefillah is that we should have a connection to HaKadosh Baruch. Now, of course, there's the famous lashon Gemara that says that tefillah is called Chayei Shah, temporary light. Tefillah is called Chayei Elam, eternal life. And tefillah is called Chayei Shah, temporary life. So if you translate tefillah api nigle, api poshet, it makes sense. What's Chayei Shah? I'm asking Hashem for a need that I have now. In a week from now, I'm going to have a different need, an opposite need. Now I need this, and now I need the Eibush to give this to me in Zman. So the Gemara says, Menichem Chayei Elam, Chayei Shah, you can be busy learning Torah, which connects you to an eternity, and you're busy with Chayei Shah, with what you need this minute. That's the criticism of a person who's might have been slaves. But if you translate tefillah on the premistic level, Kriya Tefillah is discussion of Matmas and says Kriya Aroisif is a call for the Lakus, so you should have a coming together, a meeting, a fusion of the person and of the Lakus, a Drekis with the Nebish, and Kriya means to call for the Lakus, and Tefillah means to connect to the Eibush. So how do you translate Chayei Shah now? Not Chayei Shah, the ultimate Chayei is to connect to the Eibush, which is the Makarat Torah, is more than connecting to the Torah itself. So Tal says in Chassidus, it says even in Tanya, I think, it says in the Torah, that Chayei Shah means to bring the Eibush into the moment. Not just to connect to the Eibush as he's an infinity, to connect to the Eibush that is outside and above and beyond the world, but to bring it into the moment. And that's the type of the word karos. I'm calling. I'm not only calling because I have a need. I'm calling because I want to connect, establish a connection to HaKadosh Baruch, which is the previous thing of Tefillah, the more meaningful dimension of Tefillah. Aveda Shabbalei, many classes we talk about. People Shaila, with the Tefillah, the mitzvah, Tefillah is not a mitzvah, Tefillah is the Deraisa, Tefillah is the Rabbanon. And the way it works out is that the mitzvah of Tefillah is to ask Hashem for your needs, as the Davar Yesh Leik Yitzvah. But the neshama of Tefillah is Aveda Shabbalei. And the Rebbe has this wonderful sikha where he holds that according to Shittas HaRambam, we have a mitzvah which has both a klal and a prat. Through the prat, the klal becomes a mitzvah as well. So because this aniyan Tefillah bakoshes tzurachov, So like the Rambam, not only is the Bakasha Tzrachel considered one of the mitzvahs, but the Aveda Shebelev is a mitzvah. Because the Prat is goider, the Klal Acharav, it also becomes a mitzvah. There's more than one example. Like Tshuva, the Rebbe says the same word. Through the Prat of Tshuva, maybe it's Ridui, the Klal of Tshuva is also considered a Minyan Taryag, even though there's a whole clear with the Tshuva is Minyan Taryag, because it could be a mitzvah Keleros, mitzvah Klolos, like you do it on one number. So Tefillah has these two dimensions, to ask Hashem for a means and to connect HaKadosh. So of course you know that it's one of the Gimelikim. One of the 13 principles of faith, that if you have a need, you ask Hashem. But only Him. The fifth and Iked is about Tefillah. And of course this fifth Iked, which is about Tefillah, if you have a need, you should ask Hashem, but only Him, and even if you need a physical. So there's a presumption, a correct one, a logical one, an understandable one. Even if you ask Hashem for a need, in the end there's a kriya, you're connecting. So even if I'm asking for a dover prati, for a personal request, a personal need, which has to do with my material life, my physicality, my worldly needs, but I'm turning to Him. And as much as I'm turning to Him, I'm connecting to Him. So prayer is not only the request, only the personal need, it's also the bakasha, the kriya, the calling out alakus and connecting myself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the pshat in these few psukim. Krasi b'chalev, I'm calling Hashem my whole heart. Anini ad Hashem, answer me havai. And the way we answer means that the answer should be Hashem Himself. Not the answer should be give me food or health or safety or security or supremacy over my enemy. The answer should be Havaya. The answer should be I should experience the sense of godliness. Karasi b'chalev, I call with my whole heart. Anini Hashem, and I want my answer to be that I should experience Mikshnalah. And of course, the one heart, and not the two hearts. And of course, like it says in Mishnah, that one heart is Yetzer Tev, two hearts is Yetzer Tev and Yetzer Hara. And Bepashtas, the Pshat B'chol Leiv is I call after I've made both of my hearts into one. Originally, two hearts were separate, right? As you tied into the Maimorim of Pesach and Tfilas Eimer and Shuas, you have Acharecha Norutza, and then you have Yani, HaMelech Adorav. Tfilas Eimer, you're running Lashon Rabbim. It's Tev Yetzer Hara. Shuas, which is after that, is one. The Nefesh HaBahamis and the Nefesh HaLakis. The Yetzer Tev and the Yetzer Hara have become one heart and Tefillah. Because we're talking about a Pnimis, the Tefillah. Karasi b'chol leiv, I'm calling out to the Eibishter. On a madreg where all my hearts have been unified and made singular in reaching out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kiyadu HaSipur, it's not exactly the same minyan, but it's close to the same minyan. And the Rebbe repeated Kamapomim, that the Friedrich Rebbe's maternal grandfather, whose name was also Yosef Yitzchak, the Rebbe Rayatz was named after him, married the daughter of the Cherkasser, who was married to a daughter of the Mittler Rebbe. Kiyadu HaSipur. And the Cherkasser was not in favor of the derech of Chabad, the Arichas Atfilah. There were Pelish Tzadikim who used to daven mamish in minutes. They say about the Belzer Rebbes that the minyan could not keep up with them. They daven literally superhuman speed. They would say the words. And the Shita was that you don't want to give the Yetzer Hara. The Lashon is if you're running in a wagon and someone is chasing you, you whip the horses so fast they shouldn't be able to catch up to you and climb in. So there's a word from the Rebbe, from the Baal Shem Tov, what happens if he's already in the wagon? They have to stop the wagon. They have to beat him up. You have to throw him out, and then he can continue davening. So there were these shittas by Tzadikei Pelin who daven very fast. And the faster you daven, there's less chance the Machshava Zoros have to creep in. And Chabad hat mir gehalten von Meirach sein betfila, to speak daven bariches and to think chassidus and so on. So the story was that when the Cherkasser, when the Avrucher, Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson, the Tzemach Tzedek's son, who was the father of the mother of the Friedrich Rebbe, Rabbanan Tzedek Steiner Sarah, married the daughter of the Cherkasser, who was a big tzaddik. He was the son of the Matla Chernobyl, who was the son of Nachum Chernobyl, V'cholu. And he asked him, "Wie führt sich mit dem Davenen? What is anhoge when it comes to davening?" So he answered him diplomatically, "Ich bin sich mishtadel to davenen betzibur. I try to daven betzibur." So it sounded like as if he was saying, "I daven with a minyan," and then he davened the whole day. So the Shver came to the Eidim, the father-in-law came to the son-in-law and said, "You tricked me, you told me you daven betzibur." He says, "Yeah, was meint betzibur? Zusammenkleiben, to gather, to collect." Before I daven, I want to collect all the pieces of me, and we should be one, and as one unit, we should daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like you have the Lashon and Shema. It's brought to Chassidus. So the word Shema is the word Vayishama, collecting everybody through making an announcement. Vayishama Shol. So Shema means to collect. Zusammenkleiden. Different aspects should become one. And similarly, Tzibur means to collect all the parts of oneself. And in this case, that the two hearts should become Lev Echad, one heart, and Krasi B'chol Lev. And you're crying out with this one heart because you're not crying out because of a tzara. You're not crying out because of a need. You're crying out because of a desire to connect. And even though tefillah is called Chayi Shah, but the pshat is that you're bringing the Eibush to Intishah. Aneni Adeshem, and you're asking Havaya, the Eibush himself, to respond with a reciprocal intimacy, giving of self. You call him, he should answer. Like the Abba says in Tanya, Sof Perek Lamed Zayin. Call them Akeda Libnei. You're calling your friend and calling your son. And you're talking to the Eibush, and you're calling the Eibush Kayachal your friend. He should come be Ite Imoi. That's a Taich Aneni Adeshem. And when it says Chukecha Tzera, I'm going to keep your mitzvahs. I want to translate. Chukecha Tzera means I'm going to keep your mitzvahs, but it's not connected to the Karasi B'chalev. It's two separate things. I'm calling out to you, and what I want for this calling is an intimacy with you. And Bizunder, separately, I'm going to keep your mitzvahs. In other words, I'm not keeping your mitzvahs because you're responding to my cry, or I'm not crying out, expecting you to respond because I'm frum. Two separate things. I'm calling out to the Eibishter, and what I want is the Eibishter himself, Adonai Hashem. And separate is the Chukecha Tzera. And if you must connect it to, in other words, if it bothers you that I'm splitting the pasuk into two, we'll connect it to the Torah, which I've mentioned already a number of times in these classes, which is connected to next week, Pachas HaShavua, where it says, Bayas Kein Aaron, Malamed Shvach Eshaladen Shalei Shina, that Aaron, when he lit the Meneda, was the Medrega of Abba Rabba, higher than Avram Avinu, Abba Avinu saved. And he was lighting up the Shivach Meneda, which goes in the 7 kinds of the Jewish people. So the kavonas that Aaron HaKohen had when he lit the Meneda is indescribable. And nevertheless, when he lit the candles, he lit them Kedas V'Kedin, K'Halocha. In other words, all of his excitement about the pnimius of what he's doing took nothing away from the actual Kiyam HaMitzvah, practically and behaviorally and precisely. Like I mentioned to you last time, I told you this word, that the Baditchev Erov said to the Baruch Meshbush, I don't know what you want from the Mechut. Ich hab gesehen wie allein. Das soll ich gesehen allein. Und given Kule Lamaila, und it nicht ausgelost, kein Tag Lamat. He was completely in the heavens. And down here he didn't miss a crown. Everything was very precise. Alter Rebbe used to go back and reread a pasuk. If Kayachal, he made a mistake in time, in trop, not just in the diktuk or in the words. Krasicha. Pasuk Kuf Mem Vav, I called you. Past tense. Ich hab the gerufen, I called you. And I continue to call you. And when I was preparing, I was thinking, what's the difference in Krasi and Krasicha? Krasicha means Latzmuscha. That's how, if you look at the two psukim, Krasi I called to Elikus. Krasicha I called Elika. I called Atzmus Amhus, the Eibishter himself. Choshieni. And I'm hoping that you're going to give me a Yeshua. And again, Alpi Nigla Yeshua means response to a tzara. But Alpi Chsidas Yeshua is Shinaya Neheden. Like it says in Tanya, Kishirien v'keva Yeshua's beroishay. The Alter Rebbe to the Yeshua's goes on the Shin Ayin Hein Hayden, with the Shin Ayin Hayden, which are Hamadregi and Kesed. That David is calling to the Eibishter himself, which is Krasicha Lacher is higher than Karasi. Karasi is to Giluyim, Krasicha is to Atzmus, and he's asking for Yachal Eishayna. The Eibishter should give him a Yeshua. And again, we're not going to translate Yeshua that he's going to help him from a tzara. We're going to translate Yeshua, an experience of Elokus, which comes from Kesed, which is higher than Havaya. Havaya would be Atzilus, and then Havaya. And this is already from a higher Madrei. So David HaMelech is calling. He's davening. And davening means a connection with the Eibishter. And the only thing a davener wants, his relationship with the Eibishter, is a sense of intimacy. The Eibishter should be there. And the Eibishter should be there in a Madrege where he senses his presence, which is called Anini, Adeshem, and Ashieni. And again, David finishes, Ve'eshmra Eidesecha, I'm going to guard your witness, your mitzvahs. And again, I'm translating that the Eshmra Eidesecha is separate than the Krasicha Shieni. David HaMelech is davening. He's calling to the Eibishter. And the only thing he wants in reward for calling to the Eibishter is the Eibishter. He has no other interest. He doesn't need anything more. And the Eshmera Eidei Secha is a Bezunde Prat, it's a separate detail. Again, the Rishonim say that this is a reason why the Eibusha should answer him. But this is how we're explaining it. Again, some of the Rishonim also indicate these ideas of B'chol Kareinu Love, which I'm using to explain these few psukim. And again, if you im nafshach loymar, so we'll say that even though krasir ha'ishiyeni, I'm davening, and I'm busy in the ilmus ha'yenim, I'll be careful about your mitzvahs. And if you need another story, mesach nocha sad, if around the sipar you do it, that the Rebbe wrote in the letter that he gave out for Tishrei Tavshin Chaf, right? The famous letter, it's printed in the various Sforim that came out at that time. It's become one of the hallmark forms of the Rebbe's Messias. It was written 60 years ago. Keil nar beiche. You're not allowed to not hear the cry of the child. And of course, there's a story that the Alter Rebbe and the Middle Rebbe lived in the same house. The Alter Rebbe lived upstairs in the second story, and the Middle Rebbe lived downstairs. The Middle Rebbe was a matupel babonim. He had a lot of children. Right? We know 9 are mentioned in the Hayem Yem by name, but he apparently had more that passed away in their childhood. One of them, they found the tzii, and they found the matzev in Lubavitch for Esther Miriam. The Middle Rebbe's tochter, which we did not know in the cheshbon of the names of the 7 daughters of the Middle Rebbe. And by the way, the Frierdiker Rebbe was in Lubavitch, and he was in the oil, and he saw that scene, and the Frierdiker Rebbe's memory was impeccable. And yet the Frierdiker Rebbe did not include it, which is a tzarachian, or even a tzarachian gogol. But it's not the pshat, it was a mistake. This is not the time to have this conversation. So the Middle Rebbe was learning. And it's a davar yadua that the Middle Rebbe, when he was in a dveikus, was not in this world. This sipurim, the Middle Rebbe's dveikus was mamish not in this world. And the baby fell out of the crib or the bed and was crying, and the Middle Rebbe didn't hear. The Alter Rebbe did hear, and he came downstairs, and he picked up the baby, and he cradled the baby, angewicht, as the Rebbe told the story, until the baby relaxed and quieted down. He put the baby back in his little bassinet, and he let the baby go to sleep. And the next day he called the Middle Rebbe. And he said to him that it's impossible that you shouldn't hear the cry of a child. In the Ilmus Halyonim, the idea that a child cries and you don't hear is not acceptable. The Alter Rebbe always get at the Middle Rebbe, you understand? It says, Musir, from a Rebbe to a Rebbe. He says, you hear a child cry, it's not possible wherever you are that you shouldn't hear the cry of that child. Verstehst du? This is on a madrega of a Rebbe, but I'm sorry about this. Yeah, a madrega we can't verstehen. We have the other problem, huh? All we hear is the cry, but maybe shouldn't come and vergessen. But this is the hero, right? Karasicha b'chol leiv, ve'eshbrei desecha. The mitzvahs darf man hiten. The shuv darf sein. The practical side of Teda mitzvahs must be in place. And then it continues. Kidamdi b'neshef. I got up when it's dark. Vashavei, I cried out. And of course, the Chiddush Rebbe David, as the Gemara discusses, David was Melech, was a king, and he was a powerful, powerful king, and a very successful king. And the Chazal say that kings can afford to sleep till 3 hours in the morning. Their life is relaxed. They've arrived. They've earned the right to be preoccupied with their own tipulim, their own nonsense, their own details. David HaMelech had to sleep schlafen. The Gemara says he didn't sleep shit in his shimin. He wouldn't sleep 60 breaths, which is whatever, half an hour, so that he shouldn't have a problem with tumah. He would interrupt his sleep, and he would sleep intermittently till chatzos, and then he would jump out of bed, and all night he would say Shiris v'tishbachas la'kadosh baruch Hu. He would say Tillim, and then during the day he would learn Teda and Paskin Shailas. Like I told you in earlier classes, the word from the Mojitz Rebbe, the Mojitz Rebbes were big minagnim, and one of the Mojitz Rebbes was also a big goan. So the Elamish and the Litvish and the Misnagdim came to him and they said, this Hasidic Rebbes was kennen it Lenin. So they sing Shiras v'tishbachas la'kadosh baruch Hu. They down. But du kennst doch Lenin, you're a big Talmud Chacham. Why are you wasting your time with Shiras v'tishbachas? So he said, the Shtei Tabecher B'Teira. He chose the Teira, and it says Habecher b'Shirei Zimra. The Zelber Habecher. So by David HaMelech, by Neshef, by night was Shiras v'tishbachas, and by day he was learning Teira. And we can't das Masber sein, because Mistame, the Iked Limud of David HaMelech, I have to erase that piece of tape. I just said something which is incorrect. What I was thinking to say is not correct. By night he said Shiras v'tishbachas, and by day he learned Teira. And that's Bara Shabbat, like it says in the Zayah, Roni V'Simchi, Nono Baramsha and Simcha B'Tzafra. During the day, there's a light that comes from heaven to earth, and that's Teda. And during the night, there's a singing from the darkness. The world sings, Mulmata Lamayla, from the bottom up to reach into Elokus. So by night you daven, you're reaching to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's dark. There's no Gili Elokus. The spiritual symbolism of day and night is day Hashem shines, and by night it's us reaching to Him. So Kidamti Baneshev HaShaveh. When you get up at night, you cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just like we had in the first two psukim. Kriya, Karasi, Krasi, Cha. You're calling out to have a relationship with the Eibishter in the darkness. So it's Arina. You're reaching to Him. And like I told you, Madaf Madgish, we have to emphasize and celebrate. For David HaMelech, this is not such a big deal. But we need to focus on this for our own sake. The idea that there could be a Melech, so powerful, so successful, and he didn't give himself a minute of pleasure. All night he said Tilim, Shiras Nishbachas HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and all day he learned Torah. And he didn't do it because he had tzares. He Pasha did it at Avos Hashem. And the Rishonim point out how you have to tear yourself away from sleep. I was preparing in the shir in the morning, and I was thinking, wo ich halt in the minyan. It became very uncomfortable. Wegreißen sich von Schlaf. The eyes are closing, and you're so tired, and you tear yourself away from your sleep to sing Shiras Nishbachas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what David HaMelech did. And of course, one of the principles that applies here is, so first of all, let me say that there's the first half of night and the second half of night. And the Mashmah says that he went to sleep at the beginning of the night. You'll see it more in the next pasuk. And then in the middle of the night he got up. Because it says in Kabbalah's form that the second half of night, it says even in Halacha, Chut shel Chesed Moshech Allah. From midnight there's a thread of kindness, which is leading into the next day. So the first half of night is a dark time of Gura. L'mayla, it's a time of sleep, and Lamata, it's a time. So by Tzadikim, they used to sleep first half of night and wake up at midnight and say Tikkun Chatzos and so forth. It says in Sfarim that the Baal Shem Tov's Neshama came into the world to be metak in the first half of night. Not the second half of the night, but the first half of the night. In other words, the half of night which is associated with Gevuras, which is the darkness of darkness, not darkness leading to light, was the union of the Baal Shem Tov. But David HaMelech went to sleep early, and he got up early, Baneshev, at night, to sing praises to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And of course, you all know what the Gemara says, and it's connected to Shavuos. Dazlin on Minei, where it's in 3 days of Shavuos, so it's loved, like the Rebbe says. 3 days is loved, like 3 Tfachim is loved. But in the Gemara, they've declared whether Ivre Urta L'Shinta or L'Girsa, where nights create for sleep or nights create for learning Torah. And on the face of it, that's such a silly debate. What are the two choices? Should you go to sleep or should you learn a Blat Gemara? I mean, what kind of options are those? I mean, one is selfish and an inactivity, and the other is a proactivity and sacred. So, of course, the answer is means that the neshama is eila l'mayla v'sheves l'chaim. If you're zoicha, your neshama goes into Gan Eden, then you connect to a lakus and you get makifim, which, of course, is the explanation of why the Yidden, the night of Matan Torah, went to sleep. Because they made the decision that they're much better off not doing avodah b'koyach atzmam, the work on their own, but being able to l'mayla and sheves l'chaim. So of course the Rebbe explains that for them it was right for going to sleep, and for us it's right not to go to sleep. Why? Because they hadn't gotten the Torah yet. And before you have the Torah, you don't have the tools for a work on your own. Avodah b'koyach atzmam. But once the Torah was given, it comes the next Shavuos, and the Shavuos after that, and the Shavuos after that, until the Shavuos of Shnas Tov Shin Pei. You stay up and you learn Torah. You stay up and you say Tikkun, Leil Shavuos. Because the best preparation for Matan Torah is a proactive preparation rather than a passive preparation. A deed rather than a opening yourself up to a Gili Elokus. And that's also the pshat of Kinanti Baneshev. The David HaMelech says, I get up at night, which is a time of sleep, to engage in HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a proactive way. Vashaveh, and I call out to him. And Vashaveh means I daven. Vashaveh means I praise. And I would like to learn, Hashaveh also means to learn Torah. All the different aspects of the bond between the Yid and Hashem, which have to do with words and thoughts and feelings, are included in Hashaveh. Achru farois, I'm calling to the Eibishter. And David HaMelech is underscoring the Mesiras Nefesh that he's having for this Kriya. It's nighttime, it's dark, and he gets up to call to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he's not really asking for anything. He's simply established. He's simply telling Kvayochel, the Kvayochel, about how he lives his life. That he's a servant of Hashem who lives for Kriya, who lives for Kedima Vashaveya, Beneshef, who lives to serve Hashem, Mitech Ahava Rabba, and to call to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Eisias Hatefilla and in Eisias Hatera and the Eisias of Shiras V'Tishbachas V'Hidois to the Meibishter. And of course, the next pasuk is Kidmo Eine Ashmures. My eyes preceded Ashmures. Ashmura means a watch, and Ashmures means two watches. So the Gemara in Brachis, Rashi brings this on this pasuk, has two opinions how many Ashmedes there are in a night, 3 or 4. If you divide a night into 3 parts, each Ashmedes is 4 hours. If you divide a night into 4 parts, each Ashmedes is 3 hours. And the difference would be if Reish Ashmedes is Chatzeis. If, and of course the Gemara brings that David HaMelech used to get up at midnight, the Reish Hashmedes goes on the Eifen that there's 4 Hashmedes have a halayla. Now I never saw an explanation for what's this machlokes, whether Hashmedes is connected with there's 3 Hashmedes by night or 4 Hashmedes by night. But first I want to bring out the point, what's meant Hashmedes. And I guess I'll begin with this. I have classes on my website, inside Chasidus.org, on Tefillah. And we're holding Hoidu, but we did from Meidani, and they're very comprehensive classes. I mean, a little bit we skip, but there's very comprehensive classes on the Berchas HaShachar, the Berchas HaTeira, and so on and so forth, on from Forint and Karbonis. And I have a number of classes on Hanesin Lasech Vivina, which is the first of the Berchas HaShachar according to all opinions. Hanesin Lasech Vivina Lahavchen Ben Yem Avein Loila. And there's a lot of Kabbalah, there's a Zayar about it. But the word Hanes Lasech Vivina Lahavchen B'Yem Avein Loila bepashtus is as follows: the difference between the day and the night is that during the day you can know what time it is by the place of the sun. Meaning to say, you know if you're closer to the beginning of the day or closer to the end of the day. Meaning during the day, not only is there light and it makes navigation easier, but there's a perspective. At night it's dark. And when you wake up and it's dark, you don't know if the sun just set or the sun is about to rise. Darkness does not provide perceptible, discernible divisions. And that's the meaning of a Neis Lasechvina Lahavched, that even though it's dark, whatever Sechvi means, whether it means Malach Gavriel, or it means Malachim on a lower level, or a physical Sechvi, they're able to know what time it is, even though there's nothing telling them the time. So this is a Nipnimi, right? It's dark. And of course, darkness, like everything else, means a spiritual darkness. There's a lack of presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's overt in the world. And when it's dark, besides for the fact that there's no light, there's also no sense of how close or far you are from the light. Like Chassidus says about Golus. The last moment of Golus, you feel like you're 1,000 years away from Geula, because the night is the darkest right before the sun rises. So the night does not provide you with discernible distinctions of time, but it has. They're called Ashmuris, watches. And Lamaila, the Ashmedes are doing the Malachim and different things, but Lamata, we're not sensitive to the Ashmedes. When somebody is in the dark, and of course we mean the spiritual concept of darkness, and they're able to discern Ashmoires, that means they have a sense of Hashem even in darkness, and they have a sense of time even in darkness. This is a sensitivity which is very unusual, and that's what David is saying, Kidmo Eine Ashmeres, that even though it's dark, I have a sensibility to know. If we divide the night up into units, I get up at the beginning of a particular unit. Some of the Rishonim say that Ashmeres is man kitza, time to wake up. Another say it's man shmira, time to be guarded. And of course, those who say that a night has 3 Ashmedes, David HaMelech got up 4 hours into the night, 8 hours before morning. Leish Ashmedes, 2 Ashmedes, 8 hours before morning. And those who say that the Dawah Ashmedes have allowed, there's 4 Ashmedes in the night, say David HaMelech got up at midnight to say Shiras V'Tishbachas, like it says in the Gemara, that he would sleep intermittently, and then at midnight there would be an eastern wind that would blow on his, Ruach Dremes would blow on his kineir, on his lyre, and it would wake him up, and then he would sit or stand and say Shiras V'Tishbachas HaKadosh Baruch Hu until the sun came up. Now I was thinking, without any source whatsoever, what's the difference if you say that a night has 3 parts or 4 parts? L'chayr is the same thing as during the day. The Zman Krishma is 3 hours, and the Zman Tefillah is 4 hours. And the difference between Kriya Shema and Tefillah, Krishma is Mesiras Nefesh, and Tefillah is bringing Hashem down. So 3 Ashmedes is Inyan Tefillah, to bring the Eibishter into the world. 4 Ashmedes is Inyan Kriya Shema, the Inyan Mesiras Nefesh. So you can translate Kidmu Einai Ashmures, my eyes preceded the day by 2 Ashmeres. If 2 Ashmeres means Tefillah, that means even during the night, David is bringing the Eibishter into this world. And if Ashmeres means Kriyashma, at least during the night, the Inyan is to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is consistent with Ein Rina El Tefillah, going Malmata Alamayla, which is Inyan Atfillah, Inyan Akrishma, Inyan Mesiras Nefesh. Well, not Shmenesre. Shmenesre is actually Shev, Ein Kan HaMokim Laharech Bazeh. But David HaMelech says, Kidmoin Ashmeres. I got up 2 parts before daytime, and I was able to discern in the darkness these divisions, because even though we don't experience the divisions of time in darkness, there is time and there is a cheshbon, like every second in Golos is Gerechet, and Shechishav is a Kates Lasses, even though it's undiscernible or not discernible to us. And he gets up Lasiach be'imrasecha, to speak in your words, and of course, Sicha is Tefillah, and Imrasecha means Teiro, and Tefillah, and Shiras v'tishbachas v'hidois, and so forth. And he finishes, Keli Shema. I want you to hear my voice. Hear my cry. Ki chazdecha Hashem, as your kindness, Mishpatecha Hayeni, as your judgment should give life. And the way I'm teaching these psukim, these words, Ki chazdecha and Ki Mishpatecha, is as the Gemara says, Olam chesed yibona. Chesed ma yivra. Hashem made the world because he wants us, not because he doesn't want us. Even though there's a Gemara that says, Ashri Mishalei Nivra, but the minute the Ramarash writes in Vakocha, it says, Taka Ashri Mishalei Nivra, it doesn't say Toiv. It's easier not to be created, but it's better to be created. And Emes says Al Yivra, Emes says Gam Shamayim Lezocho Be'eno. And Chesed, like the Alter Rebbe said right before he passed away in that famous letter, which again I forget how the letter begins. Chesed She'ena Shalem, Hashem created the world for kindness. So David says Ki Chazdecha and Ki Mishpatecha, meaning to say, Lo'ilam, David HaMelech's Kriya, David HaMelech's Kedima, David HaMelech's calling to the Eibishter in the middle of the night. He's davening. And he's getting up when it's dark, even though he's a Melech Yisrael. He's asking the Eibishter to listen to his koil based on the Eibishter's kindness and judgment, that the Eibishter created a world not to find fault in us. Hashem wants to find fault in us. Nobody is good enough. The Eibishter created the world to find favor in us. And Ki Chazdecha and Ki Mishpatecha, he asks, Keli, the Eibishter should hear my voice. And of course, when you say the word Keli, you right away think of the pasuk in Chumash, Hakel, Kel, Yankiv, and the Chassidus on it, that the first Kel is without a Vov, and the second Kel is with a Vov. And it says in Chassidus that the Kel without a Vov is Tefillah, and the Kel with a Vov is Teda, which is 2 types of Kel. A Kel where we're reaching up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and a Kel where we're learning the Eibishter's Teda to bring the Teda into this world. So David HaMelech says, after 4 psukim of articulating Krosi b'cholev, Krosicha, Kidamti Maneshev, Kidmoine Ashmeres. He says, Keli Shema, I want you to hear my voice. Side the Keirat Taylor, both the Keirat Tefillah and the Keirat Tefillah, because Kichazdecha and Kamishpatecha, you created a world to find favor in people, and not disfavor in people. And I'm out of time. Tomorrow, B'li Neder, we're going to do Kuf Nun, Kuf Nun Aleph, and Kuf Nun Beis. Maybe I'll begin tomorrow's class with a little bit more Fabrengenish on this, because I went very quickly. The Inyanim HaGevaldik. And as I always tell you, I'm saying what says in Chassidus. In this case, a lot of it is not just Chassidus. A lot of it is Poshet Maimori Chazal Gemaris. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. And of course, 5 o'clock is a Shir in Tefillah, in the Yeshiva. And around 7 o'clock, with Hashem himself, will be the second part of the Maimir, B'Shosh Udim Yisrael, Tov Shin Yud